Hello, we're Team 15 and we'll be presenting the shelter animal analysis in Austin Animal Center for our Project 1. Here's a synopsis of the major findings of our analysis, which covers different patterns of animal intakes and outcomes, and we will discuss them in detail with specific questions raised.
To give you a sense of the context, Austin Animal Center is a medical shelter for the city of Austin, providing shelter to thousands of animals annually, as well as providing animal protection and pet resource services. The center accepts all animals regardless of age, health, species, or breed. And the goal is to place all adoptable animals in forever homes through adoption, foster care, or rescue partner groups.
And why do we decide on this topic? Well, while data science has been used extensively for private business to maximize profits or improve performance, it will be interesting to see how this tool can help shelter animals have better life. Based on shelter's intake information and results of adoption, we want to identify some patterns and help the society to solve problems of stray animals more efficiently. Specifically, we want to help with a further increase in adoption rate, decrease in animal suffering, and provide recommendations to foster a more human, animal-friendly environment.
We found out data from the official City of Austin open data portal, and we used two data sets of animal intake and outcomes from October 1st, 2013 to present. These data sets contain information about each animal, including age, health, species, and the date taken in or adopted.
Using these data, we came up with a few questions to hopefully generate useful insights. So first, we like to know the overall picture of animal intakes, and to answer this question, we break it down into three sub-questions. First of all, what are animals taken to the shelter? We assume that most animals taken in were stray animals were surrendered by owners, but not abandoned, since people may refrain from doing so as animal abandonment is illegal in Texas. We used an interactive pie chart to discover the patterns of animal intake by intake reason. Overall, the result matches our hypothesis that stray animals and owner surrender are the most common intake reasons. Meanwhile, we also find that before 2020, there was no case of abandoned animals, but since 2020, abandonment has started to take place. This may be under the impact of COVID-19. Also, the proportion of stray animal intakes has decreased slowly from 70% to around 60% over time, which is a good sign. However, the proportion of owner surrender has been increasing from 18% to 27%. There was a consistent increase of around 1.8% every year, but this rate has increased to around 3% starting from 2020. This can also be under the impact of COVID-19. Second, what animals and when are they taken to the shelter? We assume that the shelter took in most cats and dogs since they were most popular companion animals, and there are more animal intakes during animal heat period like spring and fall. Here, we used an interactive bar chart to display the total number of animal intakes every year, and the detailed breakdown by season and animal type. In general, most animals taken in are dogs and cats, which confirms our hypothesis. It is interesting that the shelter also took in birds, livestock, and some other animals, and summer followed by spring witnessed most animal intakes. This differs a little from our hypothesis of spring and fall. However, 2020 and 2021 are the exceptions, especially 2020. 2020 saw most animal intakes in winter followed by summer, and while in 2021 it was summer followed by fall. These differences may have something to do with COVID-19. We also want to know how is age distributed among cats and dogs. The reason why we're only looking at cats and dogs here is that the quantity of the other animals taken in every year is not as comparable to that of cats and dogs. Thus, the generation of major value and insights from this age information shall depend on cats and dogs. We assume that there were more younger animals and senior animals for both cats and dogs taken. We used an interactive density pair plot to answer this question. The result matches our hypothesis of younger but not so much for senior animals. The age distribution of both cats and dogs displays similar right skew patterns, and in general, however, age distribution of cats is more spread out than that of dogs, meaning that the proportion of puppies and young dogs in all dogs taken is larger than the proportion of kittens and young cats taken in all cats taken within the same year. This also indicates that there could be more older cat intakes compared to dogs of the same age. After getting a detailed sense of cats and dogs, how about other animals? Since the shelter also took in other kinds of animals, we like to see what are the most common and popular animals taken aside from dogs and cats. We assume that rabbits could be the most popular species as they are more common in households. We used a bar chart and a word cloud plot to show the results. To our surprise, the most popular animal taken other than cats and dogs are bats, followed by raccoons, birds, and then rabbits. This violates our hypothesis. The result may have something to do with the fact that Texas happens to be the baddest state in the country, and that watching is actually on the things to do list in Austin. Overall, there's a diversity of animal intakes, as there are also animals like skunk, rats, coyotes, and ferret.
So I will take care of the result of these animals, whether they are being adopted or what happens if they cannot be adopted. So first question we want to know is, do features like age, gender, breed, and time would influence people's willingness to adopt animals? The first hypothesis would be like young animals, female cat, spring and summer would be the better choice when people want to adopt animals. Next slide, please. So first of all, age feature. From the graph, we can see that younger animals are more likely to be adopted, which is aligned to the hypothesis. And the highest adoption ratio is around 2 months old, almost 90% adoption ratio. The second pig is around 10 to 11 months old, around 70% adoption ratio. The next feature is time feature or the season feature. We want to know which season people prefer to adopt animals. Contrary to the hypothesis, fall and the winter are the seasons that most people prefer to adopt one. And also from the graph, we can see that the breed feature, dogs are more favorite than cats as opposed to hypothesis. And for the gender, neutered male and spayed female are the first choice for adoption. This could be caused by policies or operation process of shelter. And next slide, please. Then the next question, we want to know what happened to the animals that do not be adopted, which features are highly related to negative outcomes, like died or euthanasia. Our hypothesis is death and euthanasia are more common for old animals. So from the data set, we only choose the transfer, return to owner, died, disposal, and euthanasia for the features for the event or outcome events we want to do research on. And next slide. So firstly, the gender influence. Intact female and male animals are mostly transferred, while neutered females and males are returned to owner. Most animals with unknown gender are transferred or euthanized. And next, we want to know the season influence. Similar with the number of adoption, most non-adoption events happen during fall, and most non-adoption events is transfer. A higher number of transfer during summer and fall might indicate that number of animals accepted by shelter is larger during summer and fall. Next, please. We also want to know the mean age of outcome event. Contrary to the hypothesis, the mean age of died animals is around 16 months old, which means that a lot of animals do not die naturally. Similar condition on the euthanasia cases, a lot of very old animals have been returned to owners too. Next slide. And we want to see also the preferred adoption age influence is huge. Older animals are less likely to be adopted by people, and abnormal pattern. There's an abnormal pattern in the graph. The ratio of animals younger than 1 month old approaches 100%. This might be because like new birth animals cannot confront extreme conditions, and shelters cannot rescue them.
So lastly, based on our findings, we'd like to propose the following recommendations to Austin Animal Center to facilitate better operation in the shelter and improve lives of animals. This include educate the public use of microchips and raise public awareness about responsibility and disaster relief supplies, as well as to stock more resources for targeting animals and find bad experts to better preserve the habitats and help bats, and also encourage people to adopt more mature and older animals, as well as to ensure enough space and resources during popular seasons for both animal intakes and outcomes. So that is all for our presentation, and thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Okay.